Hello, everyone. Welcome to Felicitations Book Club. It is me, Felicia Day. And
And Bonnie Burton.
sorry, I should have actually gestured to you. I forget. Sometimes we're audio, sometimes we're video. It doesn't matter. I forget to upload these anyway to my feed, but I'm going to be better. Now it is no longer summer, it's fall. Basically, get the pumpkin spice, get your Halloween decorations out.
What do you mean get them out? Do you realize that I've been shopping for Halloween since beginning of July?
Bonnie, you have a lot of Halloween stuff in your
And
background.
you can't really tell, but it's supposed to turn colors. And then the best thing I got, I mean, not to turn this into a Halloween haul video or anything, but hello, Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Isn't that awesome?
No, for real, that's really cute.
I got her at Michael's craft store. So
I hate to say this. Michael's is magical.
It is. And they have all what we call it, the goths call it Code Orange. And that's when we know all the Halloween stuff's out. But a lot of that, it just depends on what state you live in too. So I follow a lot of YouTube goths from Kansas, from the Midwest and East Coast. So they get everything first. But I finally found out that at least over in the Valley in North Hollywood and Burbank and that Sherman Oaks area, there's a ton of Halloween stuff at Michael's, Ross, Marshall's.
It's like people started vomit. I went to Target and they were moving out the back to school and they were putting in the Halloween. And for once, I wasn't angry.
You know, it's sad. Target's always the last one to do it. Home Goods has had stuff since July. And Home Goods has the best stuff for cheap, I think.
I'm going to go there.
Yeah, Joann's has great stuff, but it's super expensive. So you kind of have to wait till it's more than 40% off, because even if it's 40% off, it's still expensive. So it's and Anthropologie and IKEA both have Halloween stuff for the first time ever.
I love Anthropologie the clothes used to be much better quality and they have gone downhill. It is bad, y'all, but it happens with everything. Everlane, Madewell, all of them, the quality is so low. Aritzia kind of stayed up there, I have to say. Aritzia is good, but there's not that many. You know, it's a chain, but it's not huge. But I'm really disappointed in the whole quality. But I will say that Anthropologie does have great door knockers, handles, all of that stuff. I still love it.
Yeah, I mean, this is my Christmas, so I love shopping for Halloween stuff, and I need to start putting more videos up. I even got an influencer box from Spirit that I haven't done a unveil.
You got a Spirit influencer box?
I'm a goth influencer now.
I think that's amazing. I got a box full of Magic the Gathering Cheetos, and I got to tell you, this is what I did. Can I tell you the story? We're going to talk about the book, and we're going to do Fortnite afterwards, y'all, who are in the audience, but those at home, hopefully you're watching my streams as well. So I was shooting a little video for somebody at a friendly local game store. And I mentioned to the guy, the manager, that I got this ridiculous box full of Magic the Gathering Cheetos, and they're really cool, but I don't want to open them, and I don't have any room for them. And he was like, oh my gosh. Our guy who manages all of our Magic events was just talking about these Cheeto boxes and the fact he went to the store and they're all sold out, and he was so sad that he couldn't get them. And I was like, you know what? And I was like, when's the next time he's going to be here? And he was like, oh, tonight, because we're doing a Magic event. And I was like, well, they have their weekly Magic. The Magic event is this weekend, but they had their weekly Magic thing. I was like, I'm going to be here and I'm going to give it to him. So I walked up. I was like, hey, Quan, here. And he took the box, and it was like a brown box they had sent me, the PR, and he opened it, and I've never seen anyone happier in my entire life from opening a box. He was the cutest. The look on his face was so joyful, and I was like, this was worth driving across town in rush hour traffic, and I was like, I wasn't going to do it. I was like, oh, I don't know. Just do it. And it made this guy's day. It was like being Santa Claus, but with Magic the Gathering Cheez-Its. So
I love that. You know that Cheez-Its has a beauty palette, if you ever want it. Not joking. Really? Yeah, I got the Chipotle one because I was like, why not? And it was like, you know me, I will wear lipstick, but I can't wear any makeup outside because I'll just melt off. I'll be like,
yeah.
I'll be like the melting Nazi in Indiana Jones. I just can't keep makeup on me in LA summer. And then I try to put on eye makeup, but my new glasses cover it all. So it's just lipstick. But I love getting weird influencer box. I get them from National Geographic and Discovery Channel. and like all the sciencey ones I get, which are fun.
I mean, it's wonderful. There's nothing better. Okay, well, click on the little eyeball on your alert source in OBS if you want the whoosh to stop. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with these source. I will say I apologize.
There's a
I don't
whoosh?
know. There's a whoosh. Click on the little eyeball on your alerts source in OBS, but the source isn't even on this scene, Adam.
Do I need to click on something?
You do not. I do not know what's going on. The whoosh, it's so whooshy. Where are these alerts? Where are they? Okay, I'm turning this off.
Okay.
Oh, great, it stopped. Yeah, it sounded like someone was flushing a soft toilet. They were either sweeping or flushing I'm sorry, y'all at home. I'm going to get back on the podcast and be organized. I apologize. It's unprofessional still. Anyway,
the book.
The book. Okay, so I want to give a shout out to that. I want to give a shout out to Gary Whitta, my friend, who got the best box for Starfield ever. And I'm very jealous. So I just want to put that out there. But we all influence in our own special way.
Can I show another thing I got at Michael's?
Still in beta. What is that?
So it's a ghost. It's a prop that looks like a bunch of books. And
yeah, it looks like books stacked up. Oh my gosh. So basically, Bonnie is holding up 4 books. And it looks like books together, but they're actually, it's just a machine. And one of the books pops out and makes that sound.
It makes like a creaking sound. It's the only thing at Michael's that isn't like got a weird voice or dumb music. So, and also I get like 20%, 40% off. I use all the coupons for everything. Yeah. I don't like animatronics. I just don't want anything in my house to make noise because I have like a little bit of issues with being an ADHDer. I don't want to have a bunch of noise everywhere. But I do like a quality creaky door sound. And that one you can turn off.
That is my problem is that my daughter, her life revolves around Halloween. I'm actually going to Europe to do MCM London. And I was going to stay there because I have to be in Rhode Island the weekend afterwards, right? So I was like, great, I'll stay on the East Coast. I'll spend, 5 days in London. I'll do it. I'll go home. I won't be jet lagged. Halloween is the day after. It's Tuesday the 31st. And so I was like, well, I could not be with my child during Halloween, or I could fly home, do Halloween, and immediately turn around and leave and go to Rhode Island. And that's what I'm going to do because it is just too important to her. We have a lot of comments in the chat during this live book club where they're saying, Logie says, I purchased those books as well. So this is a very popular Michael's item that probably will be flying off the shelves. Literally.
There was only one left. The thing with Michael's too is they have 5 different like kinds of Halloween stuff. Like they have kind of like a Grateful Dead romantic skull thing. They have an Edgar Allan Poe thing. I'll post a picture on the Edgar Allan Poe vase I got. He has like a scar or something on there, so I put a fez hat on him, so it'll be fine. But there's just a bunch of different things, and Target only has 2 styles, but Michael's goes to town. Michael's has a pastel goth line for Halloween, so you can buy
I'll go.
You can buy a pink skull. Anyway, I have not met your daughter in person yet, but now that I know she loves Halloween,
we're gonna have to do a Halloween event together, Bonnie. She'll be like in love with you. Also, more people love your hair. Your hair looks fantastic. Did you dye it? What happened here? It's really cute.
It got re-blued, re-purpled. You can't really see it.
I could tell it. I could tell. It's beautiful. Okay. Is it highlights? Did you put the highlights in, or is it like an overall purple?
It's kind of overall, but then there's some dark brown in there. That's my natural hair color. So I didn't want it to be too in your face because I was going to a family reunion in Kansas.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want to overpower my relatives with my usual weirdness. So, but I like it. It's fun. And it's, it's fine. It doesn't matter anymore because since COVID, it's not like you have to dress or look like an adult anymore.
And being on strike. I mean, I'm going to a strike event. There's a big Supernatural strike event tomorrow, and I think there's a bunch of cast members are going to be there, even though we're not saying it's Supernatural because we're not trying not to do show oriented, but it's everybody from Supernatural.
Well, the strikes are like my Comic-Con. So, like, if I want to see my friends, I go strike with them.
You go striking. It really is a social event. People are like, hey, you want to strike with me? And I'm like, yeah. But my daughter is in school next week, so I can actually strike a little bit more.
Because I'm not a TV writer, and I'm not really an actress, so I'm not in any guild whatsoever.
Hey, any support. I'm sure there's going to be tons of fans there, and that's okay. Yeah. Fans, you can really, it's really fun. I mean, the support really is appreciated because there are a lot of gates and there are a lot of studios who are trying to screw us over. So thank you for supporting that. So anyway, we do have a book club, and we pick a book every month. and we ramble around it. But this one is actually a really cool book. I had read a review of it online. I was like, why don't I know about this book? It is called, and I actually bought this in hardback because I've been trying to read physical books because I don't want my daughter to think I'm on the phone all the time. I'm actually reading books most of the time, but they're lit RPGs, so I just kind of go through them on my phone. But I want to start reading real books. At least every other book is a real book. And so I bought it. And so the book is called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And this was a top book of last year. It was a New York Times bestseller. And the wonderful thing about it is, and it's blurbed by John Green, Aaron Morgenstern, Nathan Hill, Rebecca Serrell, Tiari Jones.
It was also the first book in the Jimmy Fallon Book Club.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yep.
Well, it's about game developers. So I said we have to read this book, and I was blown away by it. Bonnie, I'm gonna read the blurb, and then we could get into what you think about it. Okay.
Okay.
In a bitter cold day in the December of his junior year at Harvard, Sam Masur exits a subway car and sees amid the hordes of people waiting on a platform Sadie Green. He calls her name. For a moment, she pretends she hasn't heard him, but then she turns and a game begins, a legendary collaboration that will launch them to stardom. These friends, intimate since childhood, borrow money, beg favors, and before even graduating college, they have created their first blockbuster game, Ichigo. Ichigo? I'm sorry. I always read things I don't know how to pronounce them. Overnight, the world is theirs. Not even 25 years old, Sam and Sadie are brilliant, successful, and rich, but these qualities won't protect them from their own creative ambitions or the betrayals of their heart. Spanning 30 years, from Cambridge, Massachusetts, to Venice Beach, California, and lands in between and far beyond, Gabrielle Zevin's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is a dazzling and intricately imagined novel that examines the multifarious nature of identity, disability, failure, and redemptive possibilities in play, and above all, our need to connect, to be loved, and to love. Yes, it's a love story, but not one you have read before. So, I have not read a legitimate novel in probably years. So,
wait a minute. What do you mean legitimate?
No, okay.
I have read as legitimate.
I have not read a book that is deep thinky, literary, more mainstream in a long time. I read fantasy novels and sci-fi, wonderful books, mainstream in my mind, but like this is definitely it was a different vibe, and it really kind of took a while for me to let it settle in. Oh, this is a book about feelings and character, and we're going to dive deep, and we're going dark places, and it was incredible, y'all.
Yeah. It was, I mean, we both have very different gaming backgrounds. Like, I'm not a huge gamer. You are. I write for games now. So it's like, that is my rent. I'm writing RPGs and mobile games, all YA and young adult stuff, but also very fan driven because I'm working for 2 IPs I can't announce yet, but they're big. So I've been doing that since I left Hunt a Killer Games. And so that's sort of my like professional side. And then personal side, I'm an old school gamer. So like I do Frogger. I do like Miss Pac-Man. Like the only thing I've done that's actually recent is some Skyrim and definitely Sims. But I do that.
I remember you were addicted to The Sims. Yeah.
I mean, I treat Sims like a Stanford prison experiment kind of thing. Like, I just want to see, how it's like that YouTuber Let's Game It Out where he just breaks the game as he's playing it. That's kind of what I do because I just don't like shoot 'em ups. I like anything that like involves mental torture. So
there's plenty of games like that. Yeah. And what's really cool about this is that I believe, why are we getting the whooshes again? I don't know, y'all.
Oh boy. Is it a haunting? Are we being haunted?
I feel like I'm being haunted. I'm looking, the Discord audio, it wouldn't be there. Game audio. I muted game audio.
Is it me? Am I the problem?
No, it's not you. Okay. It's something else. I don't know.
Yeah,
I hear the whooshes. Okay, so you guys don't hear the whooshes. All right, so it's something that's not being recorded at least.
We're just slowly going crazy. That's inevitable.
Okay, nobody else is hearing whooshes. I'm definitely hearing it, or I'm going insane. Anyway. So so these two are making games around 94, which is, I think they're like probably 5, 6, 7 years older than me, but
that's
a lot of
that's when I did it. Yeah.
So this is really contemporary to you. Like, I feel like these characters are your age, Bonnie.
Yeah. Don't fall. I almost like ripped the mic out of my. This is the thing. I am like old school intro internet, but like I'm still catching up to whatever everyone uses now. Like social media, I'm okay. I've like belonged to everything now. So like Blue Sky, T2, Post, Threads, whatever. I'm on it.
You got to be on it. You have
I'm on
to.
everything. Well, I have to because I do social media strategy for big companies, so I got to know what everything's on right now. But what I remember from 94, so I would have been I should have been graduating from college, but I changed from one degree to two. So like I got a BS in journalism. That's funny. And then a BA in English literature. But at that time, the internet was still very new. Like Netscape was our browser and had a pulsing N. And the only games you could like really play online were kind of word based, unless they were CD-ROM games, which were great, or Doom. Like I think Doom and Quake were like the ones everyone
they were
played.
really big. I mean, it started with Wolfenstein. 94 was a good year. Yeah. So
so I remember that. It was a good combo of I could play Myst or the Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, the Residents, the band The Residents, something on the Midway. There was like a Carney game that you could play that was like Myst. Or I would be, after hours at the tech company I was working for, playing Doom or Quake in the dark with a bunch of dudes. So it's like, that's what I remember as far as 1994. But also, I was a go-go dancer going to raves. So my memories are a little fuzzy.
Yeah. So you don't know what was going on. But it is really interesting to kind of read about, like, so these two, Sam and Sadie, they make this game together. And Sam doesn't actually have a lot of background in making games. And Sadie is going to MIT and doing game design. And there's some really dark things in this book. But they've been friends since they were like 10 years old. And they met in the hospital. And I don't really spoil it because I know a lot of you probably haven't read it, but I really want to urge you, if you like video games and you want to read about two, it really is about a creative partnership over like 30 years that is beautiful. And it's a platonic well, I can't say platonic. It's very mixed. It's complicated. I read recently in one article that I read, Sam is actually autistic. It's never really spelled out, but he as a character is supposed to be. Did you pick that up, Bonnie?
It's weird because I don't really say that anymore. I say neurodivergent, which sounds like a movie. Actually, it probably was a movie title.
He was neurodivergent,
Because I have ADHD. I'm dyslexic. Sounds really throw me over the edge. So like I can't have a lot of sounds everywhere. I don't know. I'm in therapy for it. In fact, I'm going to therapy right after this. So but with autism, it's such a spectrum now. So to say someone's autistic is kind of like saying someone is bipolar or saying someone is something else when it's like a whole range.
Yeah.
I kind of got that he was ace. Like I kind of felt like maybe he was asexual, which I love.
Yes.
I love representation of asexual. I'm bisexual, or I guess pansexual. And bi erasure is a huge thing in the gay and straight community. They just don't think bi exists. So we're not, even though we're in the acronym. That's what that B stands for, is bi.
Yeah.
I have a special like feeling of sticking up for the asexuals because they don't have any like it's just so sad they don't get represented as much as they should. But I'm sure Sam. I from interviews and other analysis that I read about the book, like it's unspoken that he is on the spectrum and he tends to be asexual. He also has another disability that he's dealing with his whole life. In that, I don't want to give, and of course I don't want to give it away because the book is really beautifully put together. In that, it's not linear time. You go back and forth in time a lot, kind of seeing glimpses of how the relationship started, going forward, and it's not annoying. It's not like Time Traveler's Wife, something like that. Oh God.
It goes so very naturally. I know I hate that book so much. I usually don't say I hate anything, but for some reason that really bothered me.
It bothered me a lot. Like you're allowed.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
So basically I love the way that it just seamlessly flowed, and it was really instinctively following the emotional pattern of how this relationship is going. So it was beautiful. It would end on a kind of a cliffhanger in a moment, and then it would go back 10 years and kind of see why some of this between them. And it's very two complicated characters. Like Sam is very complicated. Sadie is super complicated. It's a character analysis throughout. You're diving really deep into these characters' psyches, all of their issues, all of their trauma, all of their backgrounds, their mothers. It's a kind of depth of character that, because I've been reading nothing but lit RPG books for the last 6 months, I'm like, oh, you could really dive into a character and not just, kick things with your foot,
Yeah, I mean that's funny. You're reading them and I'm writing them, so it's
Yeah.
like this is a fun read. You know what? I remember I was first looking at some of the reviews before I read it, and also it's a big book, and I was like, please don't be like a Michael Chabon book. Like, don't be a big
Yeah.
intellectual
Yeah.
like a McSweeney's book, because my brain cells can't handle much right
No.
now because it's all over the place. So I liked the book. I thought there were some problems. I think a little bit with Sadie.
Hmm.
She felt like a Mary Sue kind of character at one point. Also, I felt like she didn't have I liked her growth at the end, but I wanted more of her, that Sadie, instead of the beginner Sadie. Whenever you have a book of two characters that are growing throughout the book, they should change, because that's what you're supposed to do as an adult, or
Yeah.
digress like I did. But I don't know, like I liked their. I love that they met in a hospital, because I spent so much time in a hospital because I was a sickly kid, and having other kids that you can talk to when you're like 6 or 7 and you're in a child, you're sick and you're there, and also like you don't know how sick everybody else is. It's a good bonding experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't
they bond over Super Mario Brothers. That
Which is
Sam.
great.
Yeah, and she's the one who gets him to talk after a very traumatic event that he has in his life, and he hasn't talked
Yeah.
for like months. And so, I'm sorry, that's my dog. There's just not going to be good sound for this. I'm so sorry.
I love dog noise. It's fine. It's just adding to the experience that is our podcast, so that's fine.
I agree with you. I felt everyone was a little forgiving of Sadie because sometimes her acerbic nature, she's a hard to like character, and she makes some decisions that are very seemingly selfish, very self-protective. And I was very interested because we get a lot of backstory on Sam.
Mm-hmm.
But Sadie, we don't really learn much about her parents. We learn about her grandma a little bit, but we don't deep dive into why she is the way she is as much as Sam.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because the people around her do forgive her a little bit too much. In my opinion, I'm like, I don't know why they're cutting her all this slack. Like, Sam has all these traumas he could overcome. He has clearly a lot of issues working with people. And then Sadie is just like this, she's a goddess of programming, but she's a difficult personality. And sometimes people are not calling her on her BS. Again, she also has this very destructive relationship with Dove, her mentor.
By the way, I wanted Dove to fall in a pit of acid. Like, I was just like, can I just write some fan fiction where I kill Dove? Because like I hated that guy. Hated him.
And I will say, a little spoiler alert, there is a scene later in the book where I don't think she should have been that nice to him, and I'm like, what? Yeah, it's he was pretty gross.
It does kind of represent women who are very, I don't want to say extroverted or very driven. Sometimes fall for jerks, and maybe that's the representation we're seeing: is smart, talented, creative woman falling for a jerk is a thing. And it's also a thing that happens when you are working in a predominantly straight white dude realm. And you end up I've dated a lot of coworkers. I don't recommend, because when the breakup's bad, its meetings are extra bad.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, especially if you're in a creative format and you're working with one of your heroes. Like, I mean, the power imbalance. I mean, just look at Hollywood. A lot of abuse happens because people achieve power and can take advantage of people who are willing to be taken advantage of, but almost unconsciously, because the person is someone they admire so much. And it's really hard not to abuse that, like we see even like YouTube people like abusing fans and like taking advantage of their work and all of it. It just feels, my dog will not stop barking. I'm so sorry.
Is he right there? Just pet him. Just does he want on camera?
She's outside. Why? There's nothing out there. It's a squirrel.
The dog's a dog. It's got to live its animal life. Yeah, I was just thinking when I read this book, how even today there's a lot of top name gaming companies that are still dealing with cancel culture and the fallout of men mistreating female coders, female game writers.
It's happening still now. There's issues at Ubisoft. There's issues at Blizzard, and I don't think any of them have really addressed it in a way that I felt like, I feel great about and I love these companies. I love a lot of people who work there, and I love their games. And it's really, really difficult to not see them implement something that's going to help, make it better. And this is definitely set 20 years before. I mean,
Yeah,
it's set in a
that's true.
time where I feel like some of the themes are predate the time. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that existed when I was in tech. So as soon as I left college, I worked at Apple, and then I worked at Home Network, and then I worked at Excite. I'm just gonna rattle off things that no one in this group even knows what I'm talking about because
Oh
all these
no,
guys are dead. But
there's
like,
people with all sorts of backgrounds here.
yeah, I like wrote for Wired when they first started. So it's like the thing is when you're a female and you identify as a woman and you want to be in a company that makes your favorite games, comics, books, whatever, and it's predominantly male, you have this weird sensation of, oh, I'm the first, or I'm going to pave the way. And then you realize there's no paving. What basically happens is you're there, at least in that time. Like now, I hope it's a lot better, but what I'm doing now, I don't have a team. I'm the only writer on the games that I'm writing, and it's much different when you have like a writer's room scenario. And what I noticed, and this, I mean, working 10 years at Lucasfilm, if anything there that taught me how to like get stuff done and get stuff approved, is you have a great idea, they will completely ignore it. But if you make your boss think it's his idea, it will get done. And so you kind of have to like manipulate the situation. But having people take credit for your work, I think sadly still happens to a lot of us, not just women, it happens across the board. But I will say we've almost gotten so used to it that that's sad that it's been normalized to the point. So when I read this book, there's a lot of triggers in this book, by the way. So if you guys
my gosh, there's a lot of triggers, and there's a particularly, I mean, I don't want to spoil it because again, I'm worried that some of you guys, I know it's book club and we should just discuss it, but
I mean, you can find it. I found the triggers on Goodreads. I think they list the triggers. Because I'm a horror film fan that goes to doesthedogdie.com before I watch something, so I don't have to watch a poor dog die, because I can't handle that in my horror. You can kill a bunch of kids, but don't you dare kill a dog.
Oh no, don't kill a dog.
So triggers for me are more, violent triggers. So the triggers of dude taking credit for a girl's work, that's just my day-to-day. So
I mean, that wasn't particularly horrifying. I mean, it was gross to see Dove and her take advantage of the relationship, being her professor and then dating her, but in this very dominating, controlling situation, and her getting back into this relationship for the sake of her game. But they kind of, and I would have loved to know why she trapped herself in this relationship, why she submitted to some sexual stuff that wasn't stuff she wanted to do, but because of the power imbalance she did, kind of got, and then she resented her friend Sam because she got back involved with him. So like again, it's very deep character-wise. There's some really interesting things. I mean, the title itself is from Macbeth, so there's a lot of thinky stuff.
Yeah, the Macbeth, spoiler alert, that's not a happy play.
No.
So, I mean, if you really want to look up where in context that quote is, it's pretty much towards the end. I think it's the fifth act. Fifth acts never work out in Shakespeare.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to bring up is before we end this, because it was super quick talk.
I know, but that's okay, guys. I got the tech working. I think this actually is a better situation. We have my mod Rocket Soup is helping us record this on Discord, so the quality will be the highest we can. But then we have a better streaming experience when we're doing things live. So
so no more.
Appreciate your patience.
So hopefully the comments I read for this video will be great. But there's two games that are mentioned. There's Emily Blaster, which is awesome, which is like you use Emily Dickinson quotes as like lasers to like.
That was one of the games Sadie made. Yeah, she made 3 games. She made several games, but there's so many game references in this. Yeah,
right. But then the big one was Ichigo?
Ichigo.
That one.
Ichigo.
Yeah. So I mean,
and that's their big hit. But then it also leads to them making a studio, and about how their working relationship got very toxic because of the credit and their personalities, and then they go on to make an MMO. So it really is interesting if you're a gamer. This woman, Gabrielle, is obviously a gamer. She loves video games, and she has a lot of references there, from King Quest to one of the games that is in the book is very Stardew Valley-esque. They have like an MMO. So It really is very fun, the way that she uses games. I could literally see this book being written about any business. Like you could put
Oh
them in the
yeah.
shoe business, you could put them in the movie business. The
I
relationship is
mean,
so real, but at the same time, it's wonderful to have a well-researched, authentic representation of two extremely creative people in the gaming world and how the
yeah.
relationship forms their art, which video games are, their art.
Yeah, and it reminded me a lot of the series *Halt, Catch Fire*, which I always recommend to people who want to know what it was like building the internet out and being a woman as part of this. Because I definitely was. Like, I was part of the Well. I was part of, AOL's, not AOL, eWorld, which was Apple's AOL. But I was getting some like glimpses of that TV series kind of in this book. Ready Player One, obviously,
Yeah,
there was some
yeah.
like references, but I love
Sims,
Sims.
Sims. They
I
also
mean,
had a really interesting game that they made that had two different sides to it, which reminded me of the game. It was made by a person from I think Norway or Sweden about having like a person's real life, and then when they go to sleep, or they kind of cross over to a dream life or a fantasy. Anyway, it was wonderfully researched and realized as far as like indie artistic games go.
yeah. I mean, it's also like I just love it for the characters. So even if you don't understand or like video games, I think this book is great just for the characters and just for the
Yes,
relationships
and
and
I
how
and I,
deep it
yeah.
gets.
And
Yeah.
I will say that it does. I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, 400 pages. It's extremely fast read.
It is. It is. It is.
I
Yeah.
was so surprised. I was like, I was reading and reading, and I was like, oh, I'm already almost done. And there were a couple of quotes. I don't know if I could do that, but she realized she wasn't old at all. You couldn't be old and still be wrong about so many things as she'd been wrong about. And it was kind of immaturity to call yourself old before you were. I love that quote. I loved it.
I
There's so many.
mean, I'm wrong about everything and I'm super old. So,
Exactly. So
yeah.
I would really recommend this if you're a gamer, if you want to read a book that's worth discussing and worth kind of lingering with you, because I'll always have that relationship in my mind.
Hmm.
And it's great. Okay,
Oh,
Bonnie. Oh yeah.
and it's good. And it's good we read it because it just got optioned. So, I mean, with the writer's strike going, who knows when that'll happen, but it got optioned. So,
I don't know what kind of movie it would make. I want to be
I don't
honest with you.
either.
If
I
you
don't
took
either. I think
it
it should be a
really
TV series. TV series would be better.
no, but also I don't feel like it's partly the writing and deep diving into somebody's internal life and their past life is really what it's about. And I feel like if you
Yeah.
just take the surface of the plot, it's going to be,
Weird.
meh, not as good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Bonnie has to run, but Bonnie is picking next month's book, which is
It's called Becoming Crone. It's the first book in the Crone Wars series. It's an urban fantasy book. It's by Lydia M. Hawk, who I love. She's great. She's on social media, and I connected with her like instantly when this book came up because
love it.
it's the premise is it's her 60th birthday and she suddenly gets powers. So it's
Love
like,
it.
which I love because I write YA, I love YA, but man, it's so nice to read about someone that's not at high school or college for a change and who actually has a sense of humor. Like if you were just going through, you finish menopause and oh, ta-da, you have powers. Like what would you do with that? Like it's just an interesting book series. There's 4 books so far. It's a fast read. It's really funny. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I think the majority of our viewers would enjoy it. It's just a really fun book. So
No, it looks like a great. I haven't read urban fantasy in quite a while, so I'm really looking forward to it. And by the way, for October, we're already pre-picking Gary Whitta's Gundog. Okay, so we're gonna read
yay!
our friend's book in October. So I don't know if you have to get on a library list or want to order it. It's available everywhere now. So go ahead and nab it because we're gonna read that in October, and it's all about mechs and stuff, and it's a
So
sci-fi mech
yeah,
book. So we already have 2 books planned out. See, we're getting more together.
we're
All
fine.
right.
And also, there's no lag. I feel like we're eventually getting to the point where we look professional, which is great.
I will upload this to the Felicitations podcast and do a Felicitations podcast this month. Okay, so you're getting it all.
Yay! Is this
All
also going to
right.
be on you? Is this going to be on YouTube too? Right?
Yes, we upload to YouTube. We
Okay.
have it on the audio feed, and we also have it here live with you guys the last Tuesday of the month. Although now it's Wednesday, and that might change. We'll figure it out. Check my
We'll figure it
Discord
out.
for all the information, as well as please pre-order Third Eye, which is my audio project. They're calling it an audiobook. It's like 8 or 9 hours worth of content, but it's really a fully acted TV show. It's about a chosen one who fails and a girl who comes into her life and blows it up. It's a comedy starring me, Neil Gaiman, Will Wheaton, Alan Tudyk, Sean Astin, London Hughes, Lily Pichu. It has a huge cast. I've worked on it for 5 years, and it's my baby, and it's coming out October 5th. So if you go to audible.com/Third Eye, you can pre-order it. I'm sure you have a credit. Just nab it, and you're going to get all that in your ear holes. It's a lot of writing, and I'm so proud of it. So hopefully you guys can check it out. Okay?
Bye, guys.